Sometimes an abortion that's meant to save the mother's life winds up ending her life instead. And that was the case with 16-year-old Barbara. This is Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today is February 22nd. The death we have today is not just a safe legal abortion death, it's one of those life or health of the mother abortions that wound up killing the patient instead of saving her life. And in this case, it was a 16-year-old high school sophomore named Barbara. She was checked into Loma Linda University Hospital in California for an abortion that her doctor had recommended because she had a congenital heart condition. Now, Barbara was in the second trimester of pregnancy. The abortion was performed February 22nd, 1983, but during the procedure, Barbara's heart stopped, and the physicians weren't able to revive her, and she was declared dead on the operating table. Now, those are all the details I have about Barbara's death. But hers isn't the only death that I know about that came about because of an abortion recommended for the life or health of the mother. There was a woman named Allegra who was suffering from advanced liver cancer, and she had symptoms of pregnancy. She had a distended abdomen, she had some nausea, her period stopped, but everybody assumed that that was a combination of the cancer and her treatments for the cancer. It wasn't until she was getting an ultrasound in anticipation of getting into an experimental cancer treatment program that they discovered that her symptoms were caused because she was pregnant. I forget offhand whether she was 20 or 22 weeks pregnant. It was very, very close to viability. And this is an important thing to keep in mind. And I have documents for this. You can ask me for them. Um, there was no requirement for for this experimental cancer treatment program. Pregnancy did not disqualify Allegra for this experimental treatment program, but her doctors told her that it did. Her doctors told her that she would not be eligible for this last ditch attempt at life unless she aborted her baby. And evidently, Allegra still even balked because, in addition to holding her life over her head, the doctors told her that her baby was doomed anyway because of the cancer treatment she'd undergone. So Allegra agreed to the abortion. She died of complications of the abortion, and it turned out that there had been absolutely nothing wrong with her baby. So there was that one. There was a young woman named Angelica who sought an abortion under the advice of her physician, and she ended up dying. One of the heroes, well, actually, two of the heroes, because we have George Tiller, who is this huge hero of the abortion rights movement, primarily because he would do late abortions that nobody else would touch. There was no such thing, as far as I can tell, as an abortion that Tiller refused to do, no matter how late in the pregnancy it was. And a mentally disabled young woman named Kristen was brought to him by her family. She was very advanced in the pregnancy, and he had this rubber stamping procedure with another doctor who would just, yep, bing, health of the mother. So supposedly, this abortion was being performed on Kristen because of her health. And as is the way these late abortions are done, she was being kept in a motel room, in this case with her parents, in between going in and having the laminaria swapped out. And during this process, over the course of several days, she collapsed, and her parents loaded her on a luggage cart and pushed her out to their van to take her to the clinic instead of taking her to the hospital. And then it was Leroy Carhart who was working there that day. And he was performing CPR on her so ineptly that when the medics arrived, they thought he was a bystander. They didn't think he was a doctor. And Kristen was taken to the hospital and taken off life support. A really old case is a young woman named Erica, and this goes clear back to 1961. Erica had some serious health problems, and she wound up in an iron lung, and she was unconscious. And they knew she was pregnant, and they got permission from her husband to abort her 14-week fetus. Um, I'm not quite sure how they thought that would help her, but it killed her. And then there was a woman who I only know about her through medical journal articles, so I don't have a name, but I just call her Molly because I don't like to dehumanize people. She died in 1975 when, for some bizarre, inexplicable reason, I'm going to have to do a whole video about saline abortions because they were just a hot mess. But she had lupus, and they decided she was having a lupus crisis, and they decided to do a saline abortion, which is contraindicated for somebody with lupus. It was dangerous to begin with, and it was exactly the wrong thing to do for her. And of course, it killed her. So those are the medically indicated, according to the doctors, abortions that I know about, that I have in the cemetery of choice. And it's just really, for these families, I just can't even imagine it.